everyone. We're so excited to share some big news with you. After a lot of thought and plenty of late night chats, we've decided to change the name of our podcast. We want our name to reflect the wider range of conversations and topics we'll be bringing to you. What started in one direction has grown into something bigger, and our new name represents that expansion. You can still expect the same fun, honest conversations you know us for, and we will still cover daycare centers that have not been keeping up standards and all things related to childcare funding in our province. But now we will also be diving into even more topics that matter to us and hopefully to you. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to keep growing, laughing, and learning together under our new name. Thank you from Joanne, Cash, and Sophia, Moms on Mics. Hello and welcome to Moms on Mics. I'm Joanne.
I'm Cash.
And I'm Sophia.
And this episode is going to be slightly different than our normals. We are talking about the darkest kids show ever made, called Life with Grandpa. This was a straight to VHS show made in the early 80s. The show is made with creepy puppets that use stories, skits, and songs for kids to teach them how to live their best life according to Jesus. The show is set up as an episodic fashion, so never following a main overarching storyline. So like each installment would be composed of a series of shorter segments that recall memories from past events of the family. The grandpa is set up as like the host of the show. The grandma doesn't speak very much except to agree with grandpa. The bits that I have watched is actually very annoying. This grandma comes on and she's like, yes, that's exactly right, children. And it's, you just want to, oh, grandma puppet. Anyways, so Davidito, seems to be the favorite child, often put on a pedestal. He seems to get gifts more than anybody else. He has more like lines on the show. He's brought into more episodes. He is like the golden boy. Initially, it seemed to be like most other kids shows in the 80s, talking about things like obedience and sharing and loving everyone, which seems innocent enough, right? Mixed in there are some really weird scenes. In one scene, there is a young girl who I presume to be with her parents at the top of a hill. The mom warns the girl not to run down the gravel hill because she might fall, which, that makes sense. I get it. Watching children run down a hill kills me every time.
Me too. Even just watching them run down the street.
Right? Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, that kid's gonna bail.
And they do every time. Yeah. So I totally get puppet mom on this thing. You know, careful, you're gonna fall. The girl inevitably proceeds to run down the gravel hill and, as to be expected, falls and gets hurt. The girl cries, and the mom is quite sympathetic. So far, so good, right? Well then, Dad points out that she's bleeding, and Mom says, I don't have a tissue, so I'll have to lick it clean and spit out the gravel. And then she proceeds to do so with like these awful, awful mouth sounds on this little puppet show. And where did I get? Okay, and then
did you watch this show?
I sure did. Like yesterday, while I was doing research and writing this episode, I sure did.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrific. It is in the best possible way until I learned more. And then I was like, oh no.
Why didn't you send it to us?
Oh, I will. I'll send you the link. Don't you worry.
It.
Yeah, I will send you the link. Don't you worry. Okay, so, and then later the dad is worried that there will be a scar. But the little brother says, thankfully, there is no scar. A doctor surely would have stitched it, and there would have been a scar. But our God is still a God of miracles. Praise the
Praise
Lord.
the Lord.
Hail Jesus. Now, I am not having to go at the, I am going to be having to go with the religious aspect of this, but you will see why in a little bit. But I'm not like religion in general, that's not my thing. But whatever, to each their own. I am not judging any of that. I will judge you if you don't take your child to see a doctor when they need it because you're hoping for a miracle. Ignorant of me, I'm sorry, but here we are getting gonna be getting soup from my mouth. In my opinion, kids need doctors, not miracles. I mean, both would be great. Let's just give them both, right? What's wrong with both?
Along with the strange aversion to doctors, there's constant encouragement of spanking. With one scene where the dad says to his children, Jesus spanks us because he loves us and wants us to be good. Then the dad proceeds to whip the kids to music with what looks like a horse's whip. The kids then say, we're really sorry. So if the Lord should spank you a little bit or correct you, it's for your own good because he loves you and wants you to be good and obey.
Trauma.
Wow. Right? Total trauma.
And
Yeah.
a horse's whip?
Yes, that's just it. I'm like, hold on now, Mr. Puppet Dad. That's not a spanking. That is abuse.
Can you even spank your kids anymore? I don't even know.
A court,
Is
like
it
by
considered
law?
cruel and unusual punishment? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's always been considered cruel, just not unusual. It's maybe more so unusual now.
Right.
I know some people that still do it and use it, but it's how we also grew up, right? We also grew up with it like that.
Oh, dude, my best friend, her parents had a giant wooden spoon and fork on the wall, and they used to spank her with that.
Right?
And I see it all the time. I went over to her house, and I'm like, oh, I was so scared of it.
My friend, her dad used a cricket bat.
Well, I had a boyfriend whose parents would make him sit on his knees on rocks
Ow.
to abuse. Yeah.
I mean, that's cruel and unusual, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think people do still spank their kids.
The show's stance on women is as you would expect from a show created in the 1950s, more so than the 1980s. One of the songs in the show, a man sings to his wife and daughter, "So, do the dishes and clean the floor, and God can show us something more. I'm ready for any job at all, whether it's big or something small. I'm ready to go, ready to stay, ready my place to fill. Ready for service, lonely or great, ready to do God's will." The scene is a clear message to the young girls watching as it shows women in the kitchen cooking, cleaning, and taking care of babies. The last line of the song is repeated over and over, and it's trust and obey, for there's no other way.
And to be clear, this song is quite catchy. Like the way the tune is and everything. So I'm like, oh, like as I'm watching it and I'm like tapping along with it, I'm like, oh no, that's not like, so you
How
can
does it go? Is it like trust and obey, for there's no other way?
pretty much, yeah. Like it's totally catchy like that, right? So you can absolutely imagine these little girls just being like and awed by it and catching that message. Like it is, yeah, it's creepy. Watching it now, knowing what I know. Like, so when I watched this at first, I didn't know the whole story yet. And I was like, oh, it's almost like comical how offensive it is, right? Like, and how bad this is. Like how the message it's trying to give little girls like now we can look back at it and be like, that's so funny. They were so backwards back then. They didn't know this, whatever. But like watching it, it's like, no, that's horrific. what they're trying to teach kids. And especially knowing more of the story, it is absolutely batshit. We'll continue, and then everyone else can know what exactly I am talking about.
Okay. Another episode has a song about Grandpa, who is apparently a scientist, which could be pretty cool, right? Teaching kids about science, well, not on this show. The song instead is about Grandpa being in love with a robot. And the robot looks like a garbage can with sunglasses, long hair, and boobs. Not cleavage, actual naked boobs with nipples. So either this is some weird sexual fetish, or the robot is a symbol of Grandpa's wife and implying women are like robots, while the other song about women is almost comically offensive. This song is so inappropriate, the robot having breasts and at one point showing Grandpa fondling them.
Yeah, this robot. I think I did take a picture. So I will show you. And I will,
I still can't believe you didn't send us a link to this before we did this show.
because I want to send it to you after because it's more horrific. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
The boobs.
Yeah. Yeah, real.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, Grandpa Robot? Or Grandpa Scientist, puppet, whatever. He's not the robot, but my God. Oh. And I mean, 80s graphics were horrific for sure. Like now, I mean, at the time they were cutting edge, right? But now
Right.
it's like when you see them, you're like, oh, eek. But this is just a whole other eek. This is just, oh my
It's
God.
just weird.
It
Weird
is
as
so
fuck.
weird. I was just, okay, so when I came across this TV show, I was looking for like
Yeah, I was gonna
like
say, how did
Caillou.
you even come
Yeah,
across
because
this?
I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking the worst, my top three absolute worst TV shows for kids when my kids were young. Caillou, whiny little
Yeah.
shit, cannot stand that kid. Barney, Barney used to just drive me wild. And Power Rangers. For Power Rangers, everyone has their issues with that, with whether it encouraged kids to fight or what. I just found them annoying. Like, my kids were gonna fight regardless of whether they watch Power Rangers. I could not stand that show. It was so obnoxious. Not in my house. That's kind of what I was looking for. What are the modern day Caillou and that kind of thing? So all I typed in was worst kids TV shows, and this shit came up, and I was like, well, let's have a look at that. And I ended up actually. I know the story behind this show, and I knew it before, but I didn't know this show went along with that story. So it was really interesting, and I kind of just stuck as much to the show as I could, other than the story behind it. But we will go into that a little bit. But yeah, the show,
So we didn't say what year this
it
show
came out in the early 80s.
was. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I did say that. Didn't we just say that?
Oh, I don't
I
know.
think it was in the first paragraph.
Okay, yeah, maybe I missed it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. There wasn't a specific. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Okay, so before the show, there was a book series called Life of Grandpa. The show is basically a shot for shot of the books that were created as a religious guide for children. In one of the books, with a chapter called Real Fathers, there's a scene where Tucci, I think that's how it said, and Davidito were questioning why they have different skin colors despite their siblings, despite them being siblings, sorry. So the boy had, are you reading ahead, Sylvia?
I just can't.
So the boy had light brown skin, while the girl and their parents had pure white skin. The grandpa then explains to them that his wife and their mother slept with other men. Quote, see, God just used Timothy and Carlos only to, this is a children's book, by the way, only to fuck mama so that I could have you both. They were just like an instrument or tool that Jesus used to help to create you wonderful little children of his kingdom. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Then there was an in-depth scene that looked like including images of women and a darker colored man having sex. Quote, a penis is like a plow, and a woman's womb is like a furrow in which the man plants the seed. There are quite a few scenes throughout this book that are just as inappropriate. I was gonna go into more scenes, but I couldn't. I could not read that stuff, but I will show you. Okay, can you see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These are children's books, and it's like very graphic, very like scene for scene. Oh, it goes into so much that children should not be exposed to reading,
Right.
having read to them, be around at all. I mean, this whole thing gets worse. So,
For the show and the books, how many episodes or how many books is there to it?
so it's not clear, and I'll explain that in a little bit once we get into,
It's totally bizarre that this book is called Life of Grandpa.
right? That is going to be explained for you shortly.
Okay. I'm like, oh.
Okay, so some of our listeners, if they are into true crime at all, may have already picked up on who Grandpa is. So David Berg, the author of the books, and the reason the show existed, he was a devout Christian, but wanted to start his own group with his own teachings. In 1968, at 50 years old, he did just that. He started a group that had a few names over the years. Teens of Christ. The one that I knew him by was Children of God, the Family of Love, the Family International, or the Family. It was a cult. It had 10,000 over 10,000 members at its peak, and he created letters called Mo letters and told his followers that they were to be taken more seriously than the Bible. And my God, did his followers do just that. I did not put everything in here, but my goodness, the shit show. Like I thought I was just stumbling upon this really badly written puppet TV show from the 80s, and once I realized what this was connected to, my goodness, this is just nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing, I left out so much because I'm like, we'll be taking this podcast down a whole nother avenue if I include all this, but oh, it's just batshit. This guy. Oh, yeah, let's continue. I will continue my rant further on.
In one letter, he claimed that God was going to destroy the United States, and the group needed to flee the country and spread out across the globe. Opening up communal homes where the members could live as one. 130 communities were established throughout 70 countries. The entire group was outside the U.S. jurisdiction, so Burge could get away with far more. He tightened his control. The full-time members were made to give up all their possessions to the group and stop all connections to family and friends. They were not to use any entertainment outside of the group and were only allowed to view media made by the group, more specifically created by Burge himself. So hundreds, maybe thousands, of movies and TV shows were produced and shipped directly to members' homes. The primary targets were the youth. Most were positive messages about being positive, always show love, and never ever question your parents. One catchy little tune, do it 'cause daddy said so. Trust, obey, and do it 'cause daddy said so.
Life with Grandpa was created to instill the family's beliefs into the young viewers. The line "trust and obey" was repeated through every show over and over again. Because the group wrote, produced, and distributed the material, they had no regulations to follow, so they could do whatever they wanted, which was all the more troubling when it was discovered that the family was not an average cult. It was a sex cult. We're not going to get into all the sexual things that Berg forced the women in the cult to do, as it would take us so far off topic. But just knowing the man was obsessed with sex and perversion explains why the show Life with Grandpa is so perverse and degrading to women. He was grooming the young girls watching.
Yeah, so he basically used this show and the books and all the other shows that he created to groom all the children in his family, in his little cult, to be okay with being molested by their parents, by other members, by him himself. He had them videotaped all this molestation that was going on and used the shows basically to tell the kids it was okay, that this is what's supposed to happen, that you're supposed to obey and follow the rules and do exactly what they're told. I remember there was a big thing. Do you remember the show Teletubbies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you remember that whole conspiracy theory around them that it was sending kids subliminal messages to buy toys and to want to eat at McDonald's and all that kind of nonsense? And that was a big deal. Like, that was shows that were being used to like make kids do what they want. And I remember being like, wow, that's crazy shit. Now hearing this, that's that's nothing. Like, let my kids watch Teletubbies and want me to buy them McDonald's. That's fine. This nonsense, like, kids are so influential. Like, you gotta, I'm all for letting your kids watch TV and stuff like that. That's where I stand on that. But know what they're watching. Make sure they're not. I mean, thankfully, this was only sent to the people within the cult. Like, it wasn't mass produced to other people. So currently, like, basically when the police invaded the like all the families and took all the stuff away, there's only 4 episodes remaining of this TV show, but there was thought to be lots more, possibly hundreds of episodes of this TV show that kids watched for years, like decades.
How could he even think of thousands of episodes?
Because he was a sick man. Like, the shit that, oh, anyone that's interested, just look up either the Children of God. I mentioned somewhere to look up, like, at the end, but yeah, this guy, he was fucked up in the worst possible way. Yeah, it's horrific.
Okay, Life with Grandpa was literally made to indoctrinate kids into a pedophilic sex cult. And it makes it clear why this one and many of the other media Berg made for kids hammered home the idea to not question your parents and to trust and obey. Because the adults in the kids' lives were making them do unthinkable things. Any kids that refused to trust and obey were sent away to prison camps owned by the family and reprogrammed to trust and obey. Everyone had different names and no last names, so if a child escaped and tried to report the abuse, they wouldn't even know their abuser's name. Berg went by different names also: King, Moses, Mo, Dad, and eventually Grandpa. Yep, the entire show, Life with Grandpa, was about him and his actual family that lived with him in hiding on a compound. His wife was Karen Zerby, who helped run the cult. The aunt on the show was based on Sarah Kelly, who ran the prison camp. Berg had 2 wives on the show: Maria, who was Karen Kelly, and Davida, who was Berg's real-life child bride. Davida Kelly was his then 5-year-old stepdaughter.
she actually does, Davida does an interview and talks about how at 5 and just at like around 5, she was basically married to David Berg, like, and had to do all the wifely things that other wives do. Like, it's horrific.
That's
And
terrible.
right? And the fact that like not only did he have this like sick, twisted cult family, but the fact that he created kid shows for the kids in this cult that are just these innocent children watching this show thinking it's just entertainment, like, and they were not allowed any outside entertainment. So they had no access to any TVs, movies, books, anything that was not created within the cult. So basically, if David Berg and this other guy called Peter Puppet, that I don't really go into because it's this whole other thing. Anyway, if the books and TVs and movies were not created and made by those two guys, they were not allowed within the family. So these kids were born into this cult with no reference as to whether this is right or wrong because they have no access to anything else, like nothing in the outside world. So to them, this is all they know. This is normal to them, which is heartbreaking, right? Like I've seen interviews with kids after like police interrogations and stuff when they police kind of caught on to all this nonsense that's going on and they're defending their lifestyle and defending the shows and defending the abuse that they were like exposed to. There's one interview which is just heartbreaking, and it's this young girl, and she's crying as she's defending her abuser. And it's heart-wrenching to watch that, like, and say like that the police are wrong and that they don't know what it is and that it's love and that it's not abuse, it's love. And she's maybe around like 12 years old and she has no idea. And it's just heartbreaking that the parents would allow that to happen to their kids. Like it's just
Yeah, that's
all kinds of wrong.
pretty terrible.
Yeah, this was a rabbit hole that I just wanted to know what the new Caillou was. Stumbled across this. Okay, so one of the most horrifying stories on the show was the story of David Davidito, whose real name was Ricky Rodriguez, who was considered Berg's son when his wife conceived him after a night with another man. Berg viewed him as a messiah, which is why he had so much airtime on the show. There's a book that's over 700 pages called The Story of Davidito. It's said to be a book about the perfect way to raise a child, but it's actually a book that documents the real child's life along with all the abuse that he suffered. So this poor guy, poor kid, Ricky, Davidito, as the entire cult knows him, and they all believe that he is the Messiah because David Berg has told them this is the case. So everything this kid did his entire life, everybody praised him and said how wonderful it was. As he's being abused, like sexually, physically, mentally, they're telling him that he's doing the right thing, that he is here to save everybody, that he's going to save the world, and all this, like the mind fuck this must have been for this poor boy. Like, it's just horrific.
After escaping from the group in 1999, Ricky, aka David
Davidito.
Davidito, fled to the U.S. and tried to start a life for himself. He joined a group called the Survivors of the Children of God and created a post called Life with Grandpa. Then, in 2005, he posted a video talking about how he was going to kill his mother Karen and others in the group. He talked about how he was going to torture them. Burge has been dead for years at this point. He couldn't find his mother, but did find Angela Smith, who was his primary nanny and one of his abusers. He invited Angela over for dinner, trying to find out where his mother was. However, he snapped and stabbed Angela in the arm, then slit her throat. He fled and headed back to California, where the group first began and ended his own life.
That is so crazy.
Right? This poor kid, like
God.
I watched video of him talk like saying about what he's gonna do to his mom and stuff, and he wanted to save the rest of the kids that were in the cult. That was his whole reasoning behind wanting to like murder his mom. And it's just heartbreaking seeing like what he went through and knowing that the other kids that are there are suffering this and he just wants to come and save them and he can't. And it was so it was shortly after that the police like after finding what Ricky had done and then finding the video and stuff, that's when the police kind of got involved. So there are currently only 4 episodes of Life with Grandpa that have been recovered. Most were destroyed by the group when the police began to investigate them after Ricky's death. If you want to hear more about David Berg and the Children of God, I highly recommend listening to Necronomipod or check out the Darkest Kids TV show ever made on YouTube by Nick Crowley. That's where I got most of this information from. So yeah, that is Life with Grandpa.
That's crazy.
And like I said, that's not what I was looking for when I stumbled across. Like I was trying to go along with our theme of like the dark history behind nursery rhymes. I'm like, surely there'll be some around kids shows. And then I found this. And I was like, well, damn. It is hard to top this for bad TV shows for kids. And honestly, them being puppets makes it all the more creepy
Yeah.
watching them. And they're not, I mean, they're what you think of when you think of 1980s puppet TV shows. It's exactly what, I mean, other than the content, but visually, I mean, other than the one robot dude, they are exactly what you would expect. These really bad puppets that don't look like people at all. Yeah, I mean, I love horror movies, man, but this shit is nightmares.
Yeah.
There is not a horror movie that has given me a nightmare, but this.
That's terrible.
Right? And like I say, I could have gone so much further into the cult itself. Like it was fascinating, but it's like, no, let's stick to the kids show, which is where my aim was initially. Uh, I'll send you guys the link. It's
Yeah.
something. It is something.
I'm surprised you didn't send it before we did this.
I wanted you to be surprised.
Yeah.
Kind of, right? I'm like, I almost did not send it to you last night because I wanted to be like, surprise! But I was like, no, that would be mean because I know that some of it is hard to say and hard to like articulate. So, for those who don't know what we were talking about with the Teletubbies conspiracy theory, here it is. So, Tinky, Winky, Lala, Dipsy, and Poe, the 4 weird alien looking things, were the main characters. It's alleged that the show was inspired by real life events in a mental institution in Bulgaria. The institution was called La La Land, and psychotic, quote unquote, psychotic children were locked away to live in the dark, dingy rooms. Years without interactions with other humans turned them into mindless savages, as their sadistic caregivers did bare minimum to keep them alive. Supposedly, the 4 Teletubbies were actually based on 4 children from the institution that all died on the same day. A girl named Lala had a facial deformity that caused her face to be stretched into a permanent smile. Even when enduring physical pain or distress, she wore the smile. Tinky Winky was based on a boy named Toarte. He had a similar face condition as Lala, but he was also deaf. He was apparently known for being a troublemaker. He would bang his head against the wall repeatedly, so the caregivers would keep him outside tied to the fences. Dipsy was based on a sickly boy named Donka. He was so weak he could barely move, so he just laid there covered in his own vomit. Paulina, the girl that inspired Poe, was accidentally, quote unquote, thrown into a fire by the caregivers, worsening her facial deformities. The only thing the children had of any comfort was the television sets that constantly played. When the children overheard that the television sets were going to be taken away, they clawed their internal organs out in an attempt to hide the television sets inside themselves. When the caregivers discovered the gruesome scene, the children all had smiles on their faces. That story.
The fuck?
And
I'm like, what?
that's the shortened version of what supposedly happened.
Oh my
So
lordy.
that story actually comes from an article on Fellowship from Journalistic Excellence. Past Still Haunts Bulgaria's Disabled Children by Maria Milkova on December 21st, 2016. The article talks about the house in the Benkovsky suburb of the capital, Sofia. Who knew you had a capital in
Right?
Bulgaria? It was one of almost 150 built in Bulgaria over the past 6 years to house up to 12 disabled children each, replacing the isolated, overcrowded, and underfunded state institutions where such children were once held far from the wary eye of society. Bulgaria closed the last of 24 communist-era institutions for disabled children this year, a process known as deinstitutionalization. There were toys too, but it was the televisions on the wall that captivated the children. While at the table, an elderly carer briefly, clumsily held a child by their hair to keep her head steady as she fed her. The carer was not rough or abusive. That's debatable if she's holding her hair. But there was in her untrained hand, in the broken elevator and the boredom, a reminder of the recent past a period Bulgaria is trying to leave behind. So basically, the true story of them trying to get rid of these institutions that they sent these kids to kind of developed into that horrific story, which they're claiming is what the Teletubbies were based on. It is not. The Teletubbies was launched in 1997 by Anne Wood and Andrew Davenport to the BBC. It had nothing to do with that, but it's a great story.
Yeah, that's not a
Intense.
great story.
I mean, that's debatable. It's creepy as fuck.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah.
Who controls the Teletubbies? The voice of the narrator is never explained, but the voice controls the Teletubbies. They do whatever it tells them to. There are theories that the Teletubbies are bioengineered slaves, created to serve humans or aliens that were studying humans. The theory that I referred to earlier was about the show's hypnotic possibilities. Many parents boycotted the show, claiming it was hypnotizing children. The constantly spinning windmill, the chant time for Teletubbies, and some of the songs the Teletubbies joined in on seemed to have a hypnotic effect. Children would be glued to the television, and some people believed it was a government-aided attempt to get them addicted to junk food for financial gains for the big
Corporations. Corporations.
corporations.
Can I hang on? I gotta tell you a funny reel that I saw the other day. So there was this girl driving past like the big windmills, right? Like the ones
Yeah.
that are doing like wind energy, whatever,
Yeah.
and they weren't moving, right? So this dumb girl goes, "Oh my God, our government does not even care about global warming. They turned off the AC." And
Oh
I
my
was like, she's got to be kidding. But she goes on to say how those fans help the planet fight against global warming because the fans blow the air and cool the planet down.
Oh my God. Is this somebody you know? Like, were
No,
you there for this
no,
one?
no, no. It was a reel I saw on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
I was hysterically laughing at like 2 in the morning while my poor husband's trying to sleep. And I'm like, turn the fans off. Like it was just so funny. I'm like, oh my God, girl, how are you that dumb? Oh my God, sorry. I just had to tell you
Hilarious.
that it was so funny.
Hidden messages in gibberish, the Teletubbies language, a mix of baby talk and nonsensical.
I would
Nonsensical.
just say a mix of baby talk and nonsense phrases.
It's nonsensical.
Okay.
Nonsensical phrases
Okay then.
was designed to mirror early speech development. Yet conspiracy theorists have long insisted the dialogue contains backwards messages or occult references. In one infamous claim, the phrase AO, their greeting, allegedly reversed sounds like hell. Linguists dismiss this as a what are these
I
words?
love you get all the hard words and I love it.
Don't. What is linguists? And then what's this other one? Pareidolia?
Yeah, pareidolia.
Okay, linguists dismiss this as pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find patterns in randomness. But the rumors persist. Similarly, the show's theme song with its ethereal, you're killing
It's
me.
you and not me.
Sorry.
Ethereal, with its ethereal vocals and disjointed notes, has been dissected for subliminal tones. While audio engineers confirm no intentional hidden tracks, the mystery underscores how ambiguity fuels speculation.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity fuels speculation.
You notice how Joanne has no hard words ever?
Right? And I'm like tongue twisting over here.
Maybe I have hard words, but I just flawlessly. I'm
No,
just
pretty
kidding.
sure you don't have hard words.
I look, and that just is a coincidence. I don't know what to tell you on that.
You're like, oh, this one's perfect for cash.
Especially on this episode, apparently.
I thought I did a really good job. I clearly did not with this paragraph.
So funny.
The tubby custard has its own conspiracy theories also. The custard is a mixture of red, yellow acrylic paint mixed with mashed potatoes. But who supplied the Teletubbies with the tubby custard? That actually goes back to the idea of the Teletubbies being slaves or aliens. Another theory is that the custard is actually a powerful
Hallucinogenic.
hallucinogenic, and Teletubbies are hallucinating the happy place.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh then, but the idea of the custard. Have you seen this shit coming out of the tubes? It's
Yeah.
so gross. And I forgot that it was made out of mashed potato. I hate lumpy custard so much. And lumpy mashed potato. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know why I
Oh,
find that so
lordy.
hysterical.
Oh my lordy.
I'll just mute myself while I'm over here. Okay, I'm muting myself.
She's like dying over there. Okay.
The Sun Baby controversy. Innocence or surveillance? One of the show's most iconic elements is the giggling baby face embedded in the sun. While creators argued this symbolized childhood joy, skeptics reinterpreted it as a metaphor for surveillance. The sun's unblinking glaze, which peers into the Teletubbies' every move, mirrors modern anxieties about constant observation. Critics critics liken it to Orwellian Big Brother, insinuating the show's subliminally normalizes surveillance culture. Actress Jess Smith, who portrayed the Sun Baby, dismissed these claims, stating her role was purely playful. Still, the imaginary persistence combined with the show's repetitive structure fuels theories about conditioning children to accept monitored environments.
I can't believe there's a fucking actress behind this goddamn baby, son. Have you seen them? Like, it's just a face of a baby, and it's like, ah,
Yeah, I forgot about
they
that.
need a fucking actress to play that? Just record baby noises, for God's sake. Oh my God. Sorry, continue.
A post apocalyptic
Apocalyptic.
apocalyptic I can't say.
A post-apocalyptic playground.
There you go. The Teletubbies' home, set in a vast rolling meadow dubbed Tubbyland, radiates idyllic,
Idyllic. You had it.
simplicity. However, its isolation and retro-futuristic technology, like the speaker horns protruding from the ground, led some to theorize the setting is a
Post-apocalyptic.
bunker. The barren hills devoid of other humans and the Teletubbies' childlike dependence on ambiguous machinery hint at the world recovering from catastrophe. The interpretation gained traction when fans noticed similarities between Tubbyland and England's countryside, specifically the real-life area in Warwickshire. I could do that one, where the show was filmed. Could the Tubbies represent survivors in a depopulated world, clinging to remnants of technology? The show's creators never confirmed this, but the eerie tranquility of their environment keeps the theory alive.
People are
Ooh.
fucking nuts. Can I just
I
say
didn't
that?
even understand half of that.
The thought that Teletubbies, like, we have great post-apocalyptic literature and like movies and TV shows, none of which I would say the Teletubbies fell into. Like, what? People, you're batshit crazy, man. I love it, but you're batshit crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Each episode follows a rigid structure. The Teletubbies engage in identical activities, watch a reoccurring video segment, and repeat phrases like again, again. Psychologists have praised this repetition as a tool for early learning, helping toddlers anticipate patterns. Detractors, however, argue it mirrors techniques used in hypnosis or indoctrination. The characters' limited vocabulary and ritualistic behaviors, such as marching in circles or collapsing dramatically, have been compared to cult-like conditioning. While no evidence supports its intentional manipulation, the show's hypnotic rhythm raises questions about media's influence on developing minds. Could repetitive programming shape passive acceptance of routines even in adulthood? The debate continues.
I would just like to say some of us fall dramatically when we're told no. Okay? It's not just cult-like behavior. If I want to shop and my husband says no, I might fall dramatically and whine and kick my feet. I'm not in a cult. Just thought I'd add that. Continue. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Okay. So
No one
is
else, just me? Okay.
yeah,
That's fine.
I think just you.
No solid. Like, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, Nunu, the sinister vacuum, the Teletubbies caretaker. Nunu is a sentient vacuum cleaner that silently cleans up their messes. Though portrayed as benevolent,
Benevolent.
Its role has drawn unsettling parallels. Nunu's lack of
Autonomy.
it exists solely to serve, and its tendency to consume the Teletubbies' belongings, even the characters themselves in playful scenes, evoke themselves of control or
Erasure.
some viewers interpret Nunu as a metaphor for
Authoritarianism.
quietly maintaining order by removing traces of dissent or chaos. Others see it as a symbol of parental oversight, tidying up mistakes before consequences arise. Either way, its ambiguous nature invites darker readings. A few fun facts about the Teletubbies. The Teletubbies are gigantic. Tinky Winky was the tallest at almost 8 feet. Lala and Dipsy were about 7 feet each, and Po was 6. The actors inside the costumes had to be very careful to avoid any carbon dioxide buildup, so they had to take lots of breaks during filming. There were also hidden seats inside the costume so the actors could rest during filming. The rabbits on the show were Flemish rabbits, as they are really big. However, the rabbits would mate so often that they would have to cut during filming to ensure they didn't get any rabbit mating on the show. Oh, yeah. We don't want porn in there.
Especially not bestiality.
Right? Dave Thompson, the original actor in Tinky Winky, was fired after the first season for portraying the male Teletubby as too feminine. And the creators of the show didn't want anything to do with the controversy at the time. The actor was replaced by Simon Shelton, who played the character for a long time. Unfortunately, he suffered from alcohol abuse and was found dead with a large amount of alcohol in his system in 2018. His cause of death was said to be hypothermia. There was one episode that was banned due to children claiming to be traumatized by the visual. The episode, titled Seesaw, had a giant cutout lion and giant cutout bear that were on wheels. The music was apparently creepy, and there were a few jump scares in the episode.
It was not scary at all. I watched the episode because I'm like, oh, yes, here we go.
Yeah.
No, boo.
Okay.
Sorry.
Not even scary for like a 2-year-old?
No. I watched it with my day home children.
Okay, and they were
because
fine.
I wanted to see their reactions. Yeah. And the only reason I did, the one that I had at the time, watches Jurassic Park, lots of stuff. She's fine. So I'm like, here we go. Let's see any reaction. Nada. Didn't even flinch. She was so bored.
And that episode was banned?
Yeah. Because they're like, it's so scary. These are clearly cardboard cutouts of a lion and a bear. Like, not, could be mistake, like a cartoon, like something you would see in like a kid's board book.
Right.
Like that kind of cutout. And they're on wheels, so they're like going by.
Okay. Yeah.
The music is not creepy.
Okay.
So I don't know, some mom got her knickers in a twist and was like, my child was scared.
Yeah.
Yes, she was probably scared of you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That came outside. That came inside.
Fans discovered where the show was filmed, and thousands of fans visited the area. The person who owned the land became so frustrated that they flooded the land, turning it into a giant puddle.
Okay, so as a Potterhead, this next one, bullshit. Just saying. So on March 31st, 1997, the BBC aired the first episode of Teletubbies. A little more than 2 months later, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published by Bloomsbury. But it would be years before anyone would suspect a connection between the two. Hint, because there isn't one. Anyway, just saying. It would be easy to dismiss the similarities between Harry's lightning scar and Lala's antenna, not to mention the correspondence between the colors of the Teletubbies and the Hogwarts houses, as merely a coincidence. 10 years later, with the publication of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, only a few have noticed the distinctive See, I'm tripped myself up.
Iconography.
Yeah, and I'm like, Thank you.
Iconography.
By combining the remaining antenna, we are left with the symbol of the Deathly Hollows themselves. So Lala's symbol looks like the lightning bolt, which is Harry Potter's scar. Then we have Twinkie Winkie as the invisibility cloak, which is the triangle. Then there's Dipsy as the Elder Wand, which is the line. And finally, we have Poe as the resurrection stone, which is the circle. That's it.
The end.
I mean, Teletubbies, don't try and claim any Harry Potter at all, because you're not even in the same realm.
Yeah.
One is created by Muggles. One is clearly magic.
Clearly. Real life magic.
Right? I mean, if you don't believe in magic, it just makes you a Muggle.
It does.
Just saying. Well, that's Teletubbies. That shittery.
That
is
swear
Teletubbies.
we read this already.
I think you just loved it so much. You have read it so many times. It's like,
swear we read this already. Maybe I dreamt it. I don't know, but I swear
you
we
have
went through
deja vu.
a lot of this stuff in here.
That's it for Moms on Mics this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Moms on Mics Podcast, on TikTok at Moms on Mics, and join our Facebook group, Moms on Mics.
If anyone has any topics you want us to cover, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at momsonmic@gmail.com or submit through our website, momsonmics.com.
We would also appreciate it if you could rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast move up on their charts so it gets more exposure. Hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.